about the consequences of those cuts, all with the notion of the governor running for higher office in 2012, 2014, or 2016. Yes, education is a civil rights issue. Why? Because the governor's cuts to education are hurting our children. The governor's cuts to education are especially hurting those children who are economically disadvantaged regardless of race, and those children who are disabled. These are the children who need extra help in the classroom. These are the children who need extra services in our schools. These are the children who need extra attention in the classroom. These are the children who will suffer most in our schools because of the governor's cut to education. Why? Because the governor's cuts to education, teachers, and other school personnel who will not be in our schools and in our classrooms to provide services to our children. It's simple, really. Future teachers in the classroom and fewer school personnel in our schools hurt our children, especially those children who need those services the most. Our government says he cares about education. Let me borrow a Republican phrase to refute his claim. You lie. I want to ask the governor a couple of questions. How can you care? How can you say you care about education when your policy is to remove teachers from the classroom? How can you say you care about education when your policies remove personnel from our schools? How can you say you care about education when your policies lead to programs being cut in our schools? How can you say you care about education when your cuts to education disproportionately end educational services to those students who need those education services the most? Again, you lie. You see, as a teacher, of course, I don't want to lose my job. Neither do you. Many of us will be hurting this time next year. Many of us have already begun to cut back. Many of us are wondering what we're going to do without a steady paycheck, without health insurance, and without life insurance. I know many of you are wondering how you are going to pay your house payment, your rent, and your car note. What's happening to us is a shame. But what's happening to our children is worse. You see, many of us are the only positive role models our students see on a daily basis. Many of us are not only teachers, we are our students' father, mother, sister, brother, aunt, uncle, counselor, banker, loan officer, financial officer, self-help guru, probation officer, best friend, and a host of other things that cannot be measured on some silly standardized test. This is something the governor apparently doesn't understand or doesn't want to understand. You see, I know the governor doesn't care about us. He doesn't care about teachers. That's why I'm framing this issue from a civil rights point of view. Since the governor doesn't care about teachers, maybe he will care about our children. Maybe then he can see that if he cares about our children, then he has to care about us, teachers. But I think the governor needs a little help understanding what goes on in our classrooms on a daily basis. So here's what I'm going to suggest. I want the governor of Virginia to come to Roanoke, Virginia. I want the governor to spend a day with me. I want the governor to leave his ivory tower in Richmond and see firsthand why he must provide proper funding to our schools. And then if the governor is convinced that his cuts are okay and we are wrong and he is right, then I want the governor to have the guts to look me in the eye and say, Jeff, we don't need you in the classroom anymore. These students can take care of themselves. But I know that's not going to happen. He's not going to come to Roanoke. He's not going to spend the time in the classroom with you or any other teacher to see why he has lost his mind.
Never had one.
Let me close by speaking as a teacher. Let me say that you cannot raise the graduation rate. You cannot lower the dropout rate. You cannot raise test scores. You cannot improve education. And you cannot improve our schools without teachers. Thank you very much.
Hey, Jeff.
Okay, next I'm very proud and pleased to welcome and